It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day. And I am in my home backyard garden, the area that used to be the Garden of Death, then became the trash can area, and then became a succulent tapestry, and has now been modified into kind of the specimen holding pen, where I typically put plants that are going to be too big for my garden, but it's like a foster program. I get them as babies, grow them up to a decent size, and then gift them to clients as the opportunity arises. So I got this Agave Mediopicta Matsumoto at Waterwise the other day when I was shopping for the Chula Vista Tapestry project, because I've seen this one there a few times. And I've been so intrigued because it's really pretty. I mean, the variegation is intense. There's a lot of movement in the leaves. And, I don't know. I asked Tom Jesh about this plant, and he didn't really have a lot of information for me. After I got home and researched it, I learned that it can grow to be 6 feet, but it's not supposed to get like as big as like a giant century plant. So I would love to be able to use this in my small to medium landscape projects if it does stay well behaved. Another issue that I would have with this is if it pups. I won't like that, if it pups all over the place. But so I thought I'll put it over here in the specimen garden and, see what happens. And you guys can follow along with me on Walkabout Wednesdays, and together we'll watch how it matures, see how it handles microclimatically, and whether or not it pups. I'm going to put it right here where this rock is. Yeah, I remember sticking this rock in here a really long time ago, and it's not that big. So I'm going to pull out this alyssum. The alyssum really ran amok this season. Okay. Don't be afraid in your own gardens to move things around. I think a lot of times we have that old gardener mentality of, once you've planted something, you're kind of stuck with it where it is. And that's absolutely true with most traditional plants and trees, but not with rocks and not with succulents. So move stuff as you see fit. Okay. Wow, I barely even will have to dig a hole. Let me get rid of this too. Oh look, there's a little Sedum rubertinctum. It must have fallen from the gutters, so I'll put it over here next to my totem cactus in my beautiful Susan Ock pot. How gorgeous is that? I just love this thing. You see, I've got a cactus here pupping. I've got this really beautiful fleshy aloe. I don't know what it is. I was waiting for it to bloom. The bloom isn't all that great. I mean, it's very Cameroni-y looking, but the plant's pretty. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with it. Is it going to be a bush aloe? Is it going to be more of a speciosa kind of thing? What's it doing? Then I have this Aloe plicatillus that I stuck in here as a literal cutting. And clearly those are not compatible, to grow forever right next to each other. Doesn't matter. None of this stuff is going to be in here all that long. As soon as it's ready to go up for adoption, it'll get moved out, and then something else will come in its place. This Aeonium haworthii was a cutting that fell out of the gutters and has rooted and turned into a little bush. So I'll just let that ride because it's not hurting anything there. Okay, let's pop this guy out. I do not see any evidence of pupping yet, so that's encouraging. And if you have this plant in your garden, if you're familiar with it, if you would be so kind as to DM me on Instagram with a photo and maybe a little bit of a description of your experience with it, or just give me a description in the comments on this video. That would be super helpful. I'd love to hear your experience. When I read up on it online, it said that it's hardy to 18 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's kind of typical of most agaves too. And, you know, over here, this isn't really a true test, because over here in the old Garden of Death, this is fairly shaded. It gets morning sun, but by the afternoon, it's pretty much in shade. So I'm not really testing this plant's mettle by putting it over here. Okay. Look at me digging. I feel. I don't know what that is. Probably shouldn't be pounding on it. Okay. I'm going to take some of this canned soil and backfill with it because it looks really good. It's got a lot of little 3/8 lava rock in it. I have, you know, there's been a couple of times when I put things over here and they have rotted. Yikes. So I want to make sure that I've got soil in here that's going to be very porous and drain really, really well. And also, it's a good idea for your plants to be just a skosh above grade, meaning when you plant them, don't bury the bottom leaves. Make sure that the crown is, even if it's just 1/4 of an inch exposed, so that if you do get rain or you do water, and I water the gutters, you know, fairly frequently. I think that was the problem with a couple of things that had rotted. You don't have to worry about crown rot. You don't have to worry about water pooling at the base of the plant and potentially causing it to rot. Also, when you take your plants out of the can, take a minute to do a little grooming. You know, pull off any dead leaves, detritus. It's easier to do it now than it is once it's in the ground, believe me. Yeah, I'm super stoked about this plant, and I really hope it behaves. Okay, let's put it in. Ooh, gosh darn it, that's pretty, isn't it? Okay, soil back around. And this, we had some rain not all that long ago. Forgot about my boulder. So the soil's a little bit damp. Let me go back a little further. Okay. I'm not even going to think about watering this plant in. You notice that I also carved off about half of the root ball. It wasn't a very mature root system. It's definitely not root bound, which is also a little concerning. And they're probably right about this getting kind of big. It was in a 5-gallon can. It wasn't densely rooted at all, and it's already, you know, a fairly significant size. But we'll see. I don't care if it'll grow or it won't. I'm curious and interested to see how long it takes it to grow as well. So if I do use this plant in projects and I put it in at this size, I'll have some experience knowing how long it will stay manageable. It's just so pretty, isn't it? Okay. Move out my folder. And this isn't weeds, this is alyssum, which, depending on how you feel about alyssum, you could consider it to be a weed, I guess. No. Nope. That's not going to work, is it, lover? God dang it. Okay. All right. That's all right. This is a really cool rock, and I will find a home for it, just not right there. But now I'm hyperventilating because I've got dirt showing, and I'm not prepared. I don't have any top dressing handy. Oh my gosh, this is a disaster. A disaster of epic proportions. What can I do? Let's see, here's a rock. Greg says, do you want a bag of rock from the garage? You're so sweet. You know what? We're going to be home this Wednesday. What's today, Monday? We're going to be home Wednesday. I'm going to be doing a walkabout. So you all can tune in for the walkabout Wednesday, and I promise you I will have this completely dialed in here. Meanwhile, you're just going to have to accept the fact that I am going to walk away from this. I've got dinner in the oven, and I'm hungry. The question is going to be, ooh, that would be neat standing up too, wouldn't it? The question is going to be, am I going to be able to relax and just let this go until tomorrow, or am I going to be out here after dinner messing around with it? I'll let you know on Wednesday. I'm feeling pretty good. I think we're okay. It's fine. Everything's fine, right? Okay, so I'm going to sweep up, and you know, another issue is, of course, what to do with this giant rock, because I'm not going to be able to leave it sit here forever. But together we shall figure it out. In the meantime, remember to let me know if you've got one of these Matsumoto agaves, and I would love to see pictures if you have them on Instagram at Laura Loves Succulents, or just give me kind of a heads up in the comments as to what your experience with this plant has been. And when you do that, be sure and let me know where you garden, where do you live, so I have some context. Okay, well, that was fun. I just can't get over how beautiful that looks in the garden, though. That is a really superb looking agave. I'm really digging it. So this has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day and my new all-star, potentially, Agave Mediopicta Matsumoto. What? Greg is over there whispering at me. What?
How close are we to subscribers?
Oh, well, we're at 98,000 subscribers and change, so I'm thinking that it's probably going to be May, the end of May, when we hit 100, which is perfect because we're planning a trip up to the ranch. We have an installation in Manteca, which is in the Central Valley, on our way up. And then we're going to be at the ranch the very, very end of May into the first part of June. And that's probably when we'll turn over. And I promised you a tour of the ranch when we hit 100,000. So I think that's all going to work right out. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would sure appreciate it if you did hit that button. And I hope that you are enjoying the videos and my attempt to give you some sort of content on the daily. Okay, this has been Laura of Design for Serenity in my garden with Agave Mediopicta Matsumoto and your succulent tip of the day. Bye, guys.